I'll just start this video by admitting that, yeah, this title is kinda clickbait. Only kind of, don't leave. It is 100% true that I didn't really care all that much for Glitchtale the first time I watched it. The reason that it's clickbait is because what I really want to talk to you about is the reason that I didn't like it. Underverse. Yes, you heard me right. I didn't like Glitchtale originally because I had watched Underverse first and loved every second of it. As for how that even happened, some YouTubers that I watched at the time played some fan games about AUs, and I found that whole thing to be an intriguing concept, so I researched some stuff about them and found Underverse that way, but that's not the point. In this video, I'm going to compare various aspects of Glitchtale and Underverse to show you why those of you Glitchtale fans who have not yet watched Underverse definitely should. So, spoiler warning for Glitchtale, but not for Underverse. I'll try to avoid spoiling that as best as I can. First off, let's start with what are probably the biggest draws of both shows, the fight scenes and the emotional connections. The fight scenes are actually probably the biggest part of what made Underverse stronger than Glitchtale in my mind back when I first watched them. And that's saying something because you all know that Glitchtale's fight scenes are hype as heck, but the fight choreography in Underverse is absolutely masterful. It's super fast and fluid, admittedly almost to the point of being too hard to follow at times, but it makes Glitchtale's fights seem sluggish in comparison. But where Glitchtale's fights excel is the meaning behind them. In Underverse, most of the fight scenes simply happen because the bad guy needs to be stopped, while in Glitchtale the fights all feel so much more personal. And that, in my opinion, has always been one of Glitchtale's biggest strengths. While we're on the topic of emotion, let's also talk about pacing, because Glitchtale's emphasis on emotion sometimes does slow the pace down quite a bit. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just another thing that I felt held it back a little the first time I watched it. The fights, which, like I said earlier, already felt sluggish to me, felt very few and far between. Now I've completely changed my mind on all that. I love the emotional stuff that Glitchtale throws at us, and it was emotional moments, namely the part when Frisk tells Azrael at least Flowey wasn't such a coward, and the part when Azrael talks to Flowey, that actually stuck with me the longest in between my first and second time watching Glitchtale. But I guess all that is to say that Underverse is much more concise in its pacing, and still has time for emotional moments. It also definitely helps that Underverse has way more funny moments than Glitchtale in my opinion, at least on a funny moment to episode ratio. Part of what makes Glitchtale more emotional and Underverse more funny is the way that it handles its characters. Underverse's characters are so masterfully crafted, from the Undertale ones to the various fan-made ones to Jackie's originals. They're just so well done, mostly. I don't really even know what else to say about them, except for one thing that I will mention in a bit. And yet, there's just something about the way Cammy does her characters that gives you a bigger emotional connection to them than Underverse has ever been able to do, at least in my experience so far. I mean, the emotional connection is still there when it comes to Underverse, just not quite as much. Like, after I watched Game Over Part 2, the first episode that came out after I got really invested in Glitchtale, I just had to sit down and let it hit me that, crap, Jessica's dead. Even though I kind of figured even before watching the episode that either Jessica or Gaster would die, there was just something about Cammy killing off one of her OCs that hit me in a way that no other character death had really done before. And that is Glitchtale's greatest strength. It's a big strength for both of them, really. The one problem with Underverse's characters is that sometimes it's hard to tell exactly what their motivations are, even when the story makes it seem like you should have figured it out by now, especially when it comes to the villains and Mr. Chaotic Neutral No Soul Fake Emotions over here. That's actually the most difficult thing to figure out when it comes to Underverse's story, in my opinion. It might seem at first like Underverse would be more complicated than Glitchtale with all the AUs and stuff, but I've actually found out through the making of my complete Glitchtale Timeline Explained video that some of the behind-the-scenes working of the Glitchtale world is way more complex than anything Underverse has thrown at us yet. That's not to say that more complicated is bad, I just thought it was an interesting point to bring up. The overall stories of both shows are super intriguing, Both have their small and not so small inconsistencies and conveniences, but hey, all fantasy stories do. The stories of both are fun regardless. What else is there to compare? The music, sure, let's talk about that. As you probably know, the main composer of the score in both Glitchtale and Underverse is Nyx the Shield, so a lot of the music is going to be pretty similar. But I gotta say, I do kind of miss the style of soundtrack that Stereohead Studios brought to Underverse 0.2 and 0.3 Part 1. Speaking of that, where are the soundtracks for 0.2 Part 2? I've looked, and they just do not exist anywhere on the internet, and I want them because they're cool. His style is like if Rush Garcia scored an entire episode. Like, I can see the episode in my head shot by shot when I listen to the soundtracks. And speaking of that, Rush's soundtracks, oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Nyx, you're cool and all, but his soundtracks will always be my favorites in all of Glitchtale. But I guess I can't complain too much when Nyx is the one who gave us tracks like Fearless Terror, Dreamers United, Seg Fault, Duplicity, and Sigma Signal, which are some of my favorite soundtracks from anything ever. Also, special shout out to Reality from 0.3 Part 2 for being able to get me choked up just by thinking about it. What was the point of this video again? Oh right, go watch Underverse. And also, if you want to understand what's probably going to happen in Season 2, or you just really want to see what I mean about the characters being really well written, you need to watch X-Tale as well. And also read the X-Tale comic because it's amazing and literally was the first comic to make me realize how awesome comics can be. But probably read that before watching Underverse. Or maybe watch 0.0 and 0.1 first, then read the comic. And then watch the rest of X-Tale after you finish 0.4 and 0.4.2. Also, Extra Scene 1 comes after 0.2, and Extra Scene 2 comes after 0.3 Part 2, and they're both really important. Just follow the official playlist and you should be fine. And then, I guess I have an analysis of the Season 2 opening cinematic that you can watch after that if you really want to. I'll link to all that stuff in the description. That's all I've got to say about that. If you want more consistent updates from me on future projects, such as the updated Glitchtale Timeline Explained or the upcoming Underverse Timeline Explained, be sure to follow me on Twitter at GamesPhil. I'll see you guys in one of those videos that I mentioned, or in my next video, or whichever other video of mine you choose to watch next. Bye.